You'll find a lot of people who think that HRs do not have any real work and the HR department is kind of useless for the company. Now, it's very important for you as a young HR professional that you understand and have respect for your profession, and you must be aware that why people have these weird assumptions, from where these assumptions are coming. You must be aware about these things so that if tomorrow you encounter somebody like this in your profession, then you can win over their limited thought process. And also towards the end, I'll give the answer of a very weird question that I keep getting on and off, where the viewer is quite young and fresher in HR profession and they're curious to know if HR profession really requires you to be creative, doing things like rangoli and formulating games to play, event management and stuff like that. So I'll be sharing all that wisdom in today's video. If you're interested to know all of that, keep on watching. And the point number one in that is, like any other support team, HR department is a pure cost center. It is not generating any revenue for the company. As in, like when you see other technical teams, they are billable resources or they are working on something that will ultimately bring revenue to the company. HR, by the nature of its work, is not so. HR is not generating any revenue for the company. HR team is not generating any revenue for the company unless the company itself is offering some HR services. For example, recruitment, manpower agencies or any other HR services companies. I'm not talking about those companies, but rest of the companies, for rest of them, HR team is not generating any revenue. So by default, many people have this assumption in their head that if the team is not generating any revenue, it's not useful for the company. So is it true? That's not true, of course, because if it was the case, if HR team was not required at all, the management or the company would not have hired any of the HR, because no company wants to pay lakhs of money to their employees for doing nothing or doing rangolis or chit-chatting. It doesn't happen like that. Just because it's a support team and it's directly not generating the revenue, it does not mean that the team doesn't have any ROI. So certainly HR team has direct impact on how things are managed in the company and how everything is going. So there's a huge ROI there, which is not visible directly in terms of number, but it certainly is there. Now the second reason is my personal opinion, and I feel it's absolutely true. And the reason is that just because HR team's work is done in generic English language, that's the reason people do not give it much importance, or they feel it's not worth enough. Why? Because if you see other technical teams, they have a lot of languages, programming languages or other simple code languages as well in which they work. So an outsider feel this is something they do not understand. That means it will take a lot of efforts, learning to get into that team and to understand that work. It might be some simple thing, but HR team doesn't work like that. It has everything, whatever they work on, written in plain simple language which can be understood by anyone. So people feel anybody can do this job. It is just to be done this way or that way. I very strongly feel if we HRs had some code language which only HRs knew, the outside world would value us much more. And also, it does not mean that if the work is in plain simple language, it's easy or anybody can do it. It's not so. Obviously, if anybody learns it, anybody can do. It's open for everyone. Reason number 3, HRs are not allowed to disclose a lot of stuff, because of which they can't even share that what they are up to, what issues have come up and how they are resolving it, how much hard work they have to put in that conflict to get resolved or on that issue to get resolved. While on the other hand, if any issue has come up in any technical team, any client related, there's a lot of chaos and everybody in the company gets to know that there's an issue with the client and people are trying to solve it, and the person who solves it becomes the star performer of that month or of that year. But in life of HRs, it's not like that. They cannot disclose that there was a huge issue related to salary of somebody. They cannot disclose that somebody is on PIP and it was really hard to navigate through that PIP of a particular employee. They cannot do that. And then nobody knows how hard they were working, how much effort they were putting into that particular scenario to solve it. So as a result, nobody knows, and that hero just works in silence. Reason number 4, HR supports a variety of teams, as in they can support finance team, they can support a R&D team, they can support a DevOps team, they can support an IT team. There are variety of teams to whom HR supports, be it hiring, be it their performance management, be it their succession planning, all of that stuff. So it might appear that HR do not have the technical background or background of that technical nature to support these teams. It appears like that, but whatever task HRs are doing, it's not so that they are doing it blindly and mindlessly. HRs have to prep themselves. They have to get the knowledge of the domain in which they are working, and only once they understand it fully, somebody becomes a successful HR, and they do understand the work till the depth it's required for them to do their work successfully. So people might feel that they are kind of working for all the teams, supporting all the teams, but they do not know anything about those teams. So it appears a foolish thing to others, to outsiders, because they do not know what the actual reality is. And the reason number 5 is that HRs do a lot of interactive work. They have to communicate a lot with people, formally and informally. They have to keep an eye, keep a check on things that are going in and around the company. Sometimes the conversation that you see they are doing casually is a part of their job and you never know about it. So it appears that HR do not have much work, and they are mostly found chit-chatting with the employees in some corner of the company. So it might appear like that, but half the time you do not know what's the scenario and why they are doing so. So be careful, that's not a mindless talking. There is definitely some agenda there. Now coming to the answer of the really strange question that I discussed at the start of this video, that do you really need the skill set to draw rangolis and to formulate games and to manage events in the company? So guys, a straight answer to that is that's not the criteria to become the HR. Absolutely no. You do not need any rangoli skills, any game skills, formulating or managing, all of that stuff. That's not the criteria. Whenever you appear for interview, your core HR skills will be checked. You will be judged against that. These rangolis and everything is all the stupid fluff which people who are not from HR backgrounds, they talk about it mindlessly because they yet don't know what the job is. And coming to the event management, most of the MNCs have their own dedicated event planning and managing teams. HRs are not even involved in that. So a request to all my young HR professionals, do not get distracted by all this fluff that you hear. Focus on learning the real HR skills. That will be the only skills against which you will be weighed in the interview. Work on your communication, work on your ability to influence anybody. Those are the things that will matter the most at the end, and not anything stupid rumor that you have heard. And do remember, companies are very money centric. They do not do charity, so they will not pay lakhs of salary to someone just to draw rangolis. Use your mind and think for yourself. So that was it guys. I really hope you enjoyed today's video and you got to know some more things about HR profession. So if you still have any queries, make sure that you put them in the comment section. I'll try to answer them to the best of my abilities. With that, I'm signing off. You keep on watching more content on the HR destination to be a successful HR professional, and I'll see you in my next video. Till then, stay safe and healthy. Take care. Bye.